You learned to walk. You learned to talk. You had a first birthday party, probably. You can't remember a single second of any of it. Not because it didn't matter. Some of the most important learning of your entire life happened right there. So why is this specific stretch of your life a complete blank for basically everyone? For a long time, scientists assumed babies simply couldn't form memories at all. Recent research has completely overturned that assumption, and it reveals something genuinely strange. Your baby brain might have been forming memories all along. Let's get into it. First, let's name this phenomenon properly. Scientists call it infantile amnesia. It refers to the near-total inability of adults to recall specific events from roughly their first 2 to 4 years. Even memories from ages 4 through 7 tend to be patchy and incomplete at best. This isn't rare or unusual. It's an almost universal human experience, seen across cultures worldwide. The interesting part isn't that it happens. It's exactly why it happens. This phenomenon was actually named over a century ago, by a name you probably already know. Sigmund Freud coined the term infantile amnesia in the late 1800s. His explanation, though, was rooted in psychoanalysis, involving repressed early psychological conflicts. Modern neuroscience has moved well beyond that idea. It's no longer considered a serious explanation. The real explanation turned out to be rooted in brain biology, not hidden psychological conflict. One of the leading modern explanations comes from research on a process called neurogenesis. Neurogenesis is simply the birth of brand new neurons, and it happens constantly in a brain region called the hippocampus. The hippocampus is critical for forming new memories, especially the specific, event-based kind. During infancy, neurogenesis in this region runs at an extremely high rate. Researchers Paul Franklin and Sheena Jocelyn tested whether this rapid neuron growth might actually disrupt memory storage. In a striking study published in Science, they manipulated neurogenesis rates directly in mice. Increasing neurogenesis in adult mice caused them to forget established memories faster than normal. Decreasing neurogenesis in infant mice helped them hold onto memories that would normally fade quickly. This established a real, causal link between rapid neuron growth and the loss of early memories. Human hippocampal neurogenesis is also highest in infancy, matching this same general pattern. Here's where it gets genuinely surprising, though. This doesn't mean babies form no memories whatsoever. For years, many scientists assumed the infant hippocampus was simply too immature to encode memories at all. In 2021, Yale researchers used a specially adapted brain scanner to study awake infants directly. They found that even 3-month-old infants showed real hippocampal activity while learning patterns. That already challenged the idea that the infant hippocampus simply couldn't do anything meaningful yet. This raises an obvious question. If early memories fade, how do babies learn so much during this exact period? The answer is that memory isn't just one single system. There are several different types working together. Episodic memory, the kind we're discussing, stores specific personal events tied to a particular time and place. Procedural memory is different. It stores skills and habits, like walking, without needing a specific memory of learning them. Babies rely heavily on procedural and general pattern-based learning, which doesn't require the same hippocampal circuitry. That's why you can walk, speak your native language, and recognize faces, despite remembering none of the specific lessons. Your baby brain wasn't wasting that time. It was just storing the knowledge in a completely different way. Then, in a follow-up study published in Science in 2025, the same research team went even further. They showed infants a series of images, then later tested which ones the infants seemed to recognize. Babies naturally stare longer at images they recognize compared to completely new ones. Critically, stronger hippocampal activity during the first viewing predicted stronger recognition later on. This pattern showed up in infants as young as 1 year old, genuinely surprising many researchers. It strongly suggests infants really can encode specific, episodic. So here's the genuinely strange mystery this creates. As adults, we clearly can't consciously retrieve specific memories from that early period. One leading idea is that these early memories aren't necessarily destroyed. They may simply become inaccessible. The rapid neurogenesis we covered earlier could be reorganizing the circuits needed to retrieve them later. Researchers are now actively testing whether some of these early memories might still exist in some retrievable form. It's a genuinely open, ongoing scientific question, not yet fully resolved. There's likely another contributing piece to this puzzle too: language. Adult episodic memory tends to rely heavily on narrative structure, essentially telling yourself a story about what happened. Very young children haven't yet developed the language skills needed to encode experiences in that narrative way. Without that verbal scaffolding, early experiences may simply not get organized in a way adult memory can later access. This lines up with research showing that memory recall ability improves alongside language development in early childhood. Comparing humans to other animals actually strengthens the neurogenesis explanation even further. Species like guinea pigs and degus are born far more developmentally mature than human babies. In these species, most hippocampal neurogenesis actually happens before birth, not after. Researchers have found these species show little to no infantile amnesia, unlike humans, mice, or rats. That lines up almost perfectly with the neurogenesis timing explanation we just covered. When the burst of new neuron growth happens matters more than the animal's actual age in days. Here's one more genuinely strange twist in this research. The memory cutoff isn't fixed. It keeps shifting. Researchers have tracked the same children's earliest reported memories at different ages over time. A child asked about their earliest memory at age 5 often reports something earlier than they report years later as a teenager. This means childhood memories keep quietly fading even after they're initially formed and briefly accessible. It's not a single clean cutoff. It's an ongoing, gradual process playing out over many years. One more important detail worth mentioning: not every early memory people report is fully genuine. Some so-called early memories are actually built from family photos or stories told to us later. Our brains can blend a retold story with real sensory imagination, creating something that feels like a genuine memory. This is well documented in memory research and isn't unique to early childhood, though it's especially common there. Quick pause before we continue. Take a guess. Do you think highly emotional early events, like a major accident, are more likely to be remembered? Sometimes yes. Very emotionally intense events occasionally survive a bit longer than ordinary daily experiences. But even these tend to fade or become unreliable if they happen during the earliest years of life. Let's clear up a few common myths before we wrap up. Myth 1. Babies don't form any memories at all before a certain age. As we covered, that's now considered outdated. Infants can and do encode real memories, even quite young. Myth 2. Infantile amnesia happens because early memories get repressed due to psychological trauma, not supported by modern neuroscience. It's much more about biological brain development than hidden trauma. Myth 3. Your very first memory is always completely accurate and untouched by outside influence. Not necessarily true. Some early memories are shaped or even created by photos and family stories. Myth 4. Scientists fully understand exactly why infantile amnesia happens. Not quite. Multiple contributing factors are still being actively researched and debated today. Myth 5. If babies can't remember specific events, they aren't really learning anything meaningful. Not accurate. Procedural and pattern-based learning during infancy is genuinely massive, just stored differently. Myth 6. Everyone's infantile amnesia ends at the exact same age. Not true. The general range is roughly 2 to 4 years old, but it varies meaningfully between individuals. Let's wrap up with a few fun extra facts. On average, people's earliest reported memories tend to cluster around 3.5 years old. Cultural background can subtly influence this. Some studies find average earliest memory ages vary slightly between cultures. The human hippocampus actually doubles in size during just the first 2 years of life. That's an extraordinary rate of physical growth for any single brain structure. Researchers are now studying whether home videos, viewed later, might help reveal what infants actually remember. Okay, let's bring this all together. You can't remember being a baby largely because of extremely high hippocampal neurogenesis during infancy. That rapid neuron growth appears to actively disrupt the storage of early memory circuits. Surprisingly, recent research shows infants genuinely do encode real memories, even in their first year. Where those early memories actually go afterward remains a genuinely open scientific question. language development, and a gradually shifting memory boundary likely play meaningful roles too. All from one universal, quietly mysterious gap that every single person on Earth shares. If this answered a question you never knew you had, that's exactly what this channel is about. So if you enjoyed this, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. It genuinely helps this channel grow, and it takes about 2 seconds. Drop a comment and tell me which part surprised you the most. Was it the neurogenesis research? The 2025 infant memory study? Let me know. And if you like this video, go ahead and tap that like button. It's a small click that genuinely helps this channel keep growing. There are hundreds of everyday questions just like this one waiting to be explored. Things about your own life you've never actually questioned. That's what this channel is all about. Toggling your curiosity on, one question at a time. One more thing before you go. Tap that notification bell too, so you actually see it when the next video drops. Next time, we're tackling why flamingos stand on one leg for hours without falling over. It's a surprisingly clever energy-saving trick, and you will not guess the mechanism. I'll see you in the next one.